Welcome to the Empower Me Now experience. This is day 3, and it's such a pleasure to have you here. I am Sabine Matharu. I am the founder of the Empower Me Hub, and I have a special guest today who is going to talk about balancing hormones. So, if you are joining us live, obviously you can ask questions. If you are catching up with the replay, then just know that this is part of a wider mission. We're here to actually help leaders, professionals, and change makers like yourself to lead with clarity, grow with purpose, and live with well-being at the center. Because to be honest, it's really no longer enough to push harder and to do more. And it's really important that we work with sustainable ideas, with sustainable way to actually change. And success really requires something more deeper. It requires resilience, alignment, and also the ability to thrive without burning out, which is most important. So this session is really going to help you understand the well-being side of being a leader, being someone, as is especially for women, obviously, and I'm really interested in this as well, because it's quite often very hard to actually live a balanced life, and also, weight can be creeping up as well. We will be just getting a sandwich for lunch and not really thinking about how we replenishing and energizing our body. So this is really, really at the heart for me as well, this talk today. So I'd like to introduce Serena Sabala, who is a certified nutrition consultant, yoga teacher, and sculpt trainer with over a decade of nutrition and wellness expertise. She's also a published author, and I think she's now bringing out another book, which I'm very excited about, and we'll share that within the Empower Me Hub for sure. She's a renowned speaker, and she has hosted hundreds of in-person and online events focused on holistic wellness, hormonal balance, and corporate health transformation. So huge welcome, Serena. Please do correct me if this is just for women, or could men watch this and get something out of this? How does that relate to men?
Absolutely, they could, and absolutely they will get immense value from it, because guess what? Men have hormones and experience hormonal imbalances also,
good.
to a different degree, of course, inevitably. But all the principles, all the distinctions and realizations are universally applicable. So absolutely, yes.
Okay, so I'm glad. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake to exclude men. And I think it's also great that men understand what's going on with their women, and women at work, if it's a colleague or their wives or sisters or daughters, whatever it is. I think men need to be very aware of what's going on, because I see it in my my marriage. My husband, it's so easy for him to lose weight. Actually, he's losing too much weight too quickly, and I'm saying, well, I'm eating the same things here, and I'm doing like as much exercise as you do. What's going on with my body? I'm not feeling the same shift. So I think it is important that there is this awareness and that we talk about it.
100%. Thank you for bringing that up. If anything, it's gonna make everything flow more effortlessly, where men are enrolled in these conversations, present with them, especially men in positions of leadership, who manage teams, who manage companies. Because you're right, it's very easy to overlook the specific challenges revolving around hormonal balance and how they impact a woman's life performance in all areas of her life.
Yeah, so it's not just the weight, it's also your mood and how you're feeling about everything, isn't it? It's
literally everything.
Yeah,
it's literally everything. And by the way, thank you for what you created. I loved it, and I think it's very empowering to shift the perspective around productivity, success, business, and to make health and wellness a holistic approach to health and wellness a foundational pillar, that really sustains business success at the company level, at the individual level, and that sustains productivity and progress. And yes, I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to delve deep into this really important topic that impacts every aspect of a
Brilliant.
person's life, especially a woman's life.
Yeah.
Every single activity that goes on in your mind and body is impacted by your hormones to some degree.
Well, I look forward to it. You take it away. I'll give you the stage, and then I will be back. And of course, I'm going to share a little bit more about who we are, what we do at the Empower Me Hub, and there's also an opportunity for you to join in and have more access to people like Serena, who are doing amazing jobs. But we also, have not only well-being but also leadership support, home life balance, really 360 degree. I would call it the one-stop shop, but more a little bit later. So Serena, you take it away, and I look forward to your talk.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's fantastic to be here. And I want to really celebrate and congratulate everybody that's catching either the live today or that is catching the replay. Well done for making time. This is the first step really in the direction towards you taking ownership of your health and wellness, is making time for an event such as this one within the framework of what I imagine is a very busy life. So well done for being here. And I really want you to watch this presentation and tune in with these slides with a mindset of being as brutally honest with yourself as you possibly can. I'll be asking some questions. I'll be kind of sharing some pointers. The more honest you can be with yourself in absorbing the learnings from this presentation, the more value you will get from it. And so I'm actually going to get started by sharing some of the most common red flags that tend to point towards hormonal imbalances. And I encourage you to kind of listen out and look for which one of these apply to your life, because that will kind of really allow you to see and get present with the impact of hormones in your life. And so are you dealing with the heavy, painful time of the month, unpredictable cycles, and is that whole experience, which by the way is a monthly experience for women, a really weighted and challenging experience for you? Because that is definitely a red flag. Or perhaps another massive, very common red flag, it doesn't matter how long you sleep at night, you always wake up feeling tired, feeling sluggish, lacking motivation, you've started experiencing brain fog. Is that what you're dealing with in your life? Another incredibly common side effect, and Sabine mentioned it herself, is that stubborn weight that doesn't budge no matter how well you're eating. You might be eating better than anybody around you and still it doesn't budge, or no matter how much you're exercising. And especially if this weight is located around your midsection, that's another massive red flag of a hormonal imbalance. Maybe your challenge is cravings. This was definitely my challenge, big time. This constant cycle of sugar cravings, junk food cravings. In fact, maybe looking at these pictures is enough to kind of bring up the craving. Again, another massive red flag. Or perhaps you are struggling at the level of your emotions. You experience these really fluctuating and intense emotional ups and downs. Sometimes even something very small can trigger you. You feel irritable, you feel sad, you feel demotivated, or you swing from one state to the other very abruptly over the course of a day and week. Another very confronting and challenging issue that many women with hormonal imbalances deal with has to do with skin issues and hair issue. Perhaps you experience spots and other marks that don't respond to traditional treatments. Or, and this is extremely painful because it's far-reaching, you might be dealing with issues with fertility and conceiving, or perhaps you just have this looming fear that you're not going to be able to conceive naturally, and that can be very draining on your life and your relationship. You can see, like I was saying, the symptoms are very far-reaching. I only highlighted a few of the most common, but like we were saying with Sabine, everything that goes on in your body is regulated and impacted to some degree by your hormones. So are you experiencing at least two of these common challenges? And here I have even more the list goes on. You can see an hormonal imbalance will have an impact on your mind and psychology. It will have an impact on your sex life. It will have an impact on your body in so many different ways. So many different ways. And if you're dealing with two or more of these challenges, that's a definite red flag of a looming hormonal imbalance. So obviously Sabine introduced me. Just a little bit more about myself. My area of specialty is nutrition. I like to call myself a nutrition nerd. I'm incredibly passionate around nutrition science, but I also bring a unique approach to transforming one's nutrition for optimal hormonal balance, because I take into account not just the science of nutrition, but also what I like to call the psychology of eating. So the emotional ramifications of food choices and food habits. My first book, Make the Shift, is available on Amazon, and I'm very proud to be able to say that it's got tons of 5-star reviews. And my second book, which Sabine mentioned, is in the works right now, The Hormone Harmony Reset Method, which will be published this autumn 2025. Okay, so check out these facts. These are staggering facts that will really make you present with how important this area of your life is and why you should take action right now. If you've got an hormonal imbalance, you will have a 4-time increased prevalence of developing type 2 diabetes and gestational diabetes. And in fact, 20% of you who have a hormonal imbalance, you will develop type 2 diabetes before you're even 40. And I don't need to go into details of the horrible side effects associated and health risks, both short-term and long-term health risks associated with diabetes. But the link is powerful. You will also experience higher rates of psychological and mood disorders, such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders, sleep disorders. Approximately 8 out of 10 of you, 80% of women, experience hormonal imbalances during their lifetime. There is a staggering statistic. 8 out of 10 women are dealing with a hormonal imbalance, whether they realize it or not. Postmenopausal women experience a heightened risk of heart attack and strokes. So not only are you having to deal with menopause and all the side effects associated with it, but also you have a higher risk of developing a heart attack and stroke. And therefore that needs to be taken into account in whatever approach you're choosing to manage it. And then if this weren't bad enough, what's even worse is that some of the most traditional therapies recommended to overcome hormonal challenges actually cause more harm than good. And I cannot emphasize this more. It's very, very scary. HRT, which is one of the most common therapies prescribed by doctors, hormone replacement therapy, will increase the risk of developing breast cancer by double. It will literally double your risk. Not to mention, it will also increase your risk of developing ovarian cancer. These are not choices to be taken lightly. The contraceptive pill, which is the one that I was prescribed for my hormonal imbalances, will double the risk of a ischemic stroke and heart attack, and will cause a host of other disruptions like it did for me. So it's very unfortunate that modern medicine sadly doesn't have solutions that are risk-free as well as impactful. Now, let me tell you a little bit about me and my story and what makes me so incredibly passionate about this specific topic. This is me at age 21. I was at the peak of my hormonal imbalances at that point. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, also known as PCOS, when I was only 14 years old. I will never forget, it was my first appointment with a female doctor. And it was a very scary experience because the doctor said, this is very serious. You can't underestimate it because it will impact your fertility later on in life. It'll make it harder for you to have children. And then the next thing she said is, there's no cure. There's no real known treatment. You're probably going to have to live with it forever. All I can do is give you the contraceptive pill, as I mentioned, just to mitigate the symptoms, because it's not going to take it away. It's just going to keep it under control. I proceeded to follow doctor's orders, as most of us do when that happens. And I had the most horrible experience with the contraceptive pill. It didn't work for me. It gave me the most horrible side effects. And therefore, soon enough, I discontinued it, and I continued to live with this like looming prognosis. Then I moved to London at age 21 and developed what is now known as PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is a more severe variation of PMS. And that was brutal. It was so invasive because, again, we get our period every month, so when we develop these kind of chronic conditions around it, every single month, relentless, the cravings, poor energy, excruciating pain. I had to take the greatest dose of over-the-counter maximum strength painkillers for a week on end just to be able to show up at work. I wasn't thriving. I was just showing up. And by the time I started feeling better, the whole cycle would start all over again. It was so debilitating, so draining. It sucked so much life energy from my life, so much productivity, so much happiness. I started putting on weight. At my heaviest, I was probably even 15 kilos overweight. My skin started breaking out. I got trapped into this vicious loop of awful, overpowering cravings and binge eating episodes. My time of the month was brutal. I developed anemia. This obviously impacted my energy. It impacted my mood. It impacted my confidence. It impacted all my relationships, personal and professional. I was working a very high stress corporate job at the time. So, they kind of compounded on the pre-existing stress of my career. And it made everything worse, frankly. I wasn't thriving in my work whatsoever. I was barely surviving. By the time I got to age 30, so by the time I got to age 25, I had nailed it. And at 30, I was already completely free of PCOS, completely free of PMDD. These two conditions that doctors were telling me there's no solution, there's no cure, I disappeared. Once I discovered what works and what doesn't, and I applied it diligently for a year, I disappeared the conditions. My weight stabilized at a level that I thought was not even possible for me. My skin and hair got clear for the first time in my life. My time of the month became effortless, and it still is to this day. It's completely effortless. Like it catches me by surprise every single month. I resolved my anemia, and this inevitably gave me endless energy to go about all the projects in my life. This is me last year. I turned 40 last year now. My mood is the most steady it's ever been. My energy is boundless. I've managed to publish a book. I've managed to become a speaker. I obviously have a thriving and healthy marriage as a result of all of these. I run a business that I love with my husband. None of this would have been possible had I not discovered the method that actually works to rebalance hormones. Okay, so now let's talk about what doesn't work. And I want to really debunk some myths. And we were talking a little bit with Sabine about this because, some of these will surprise you. These are the things that I was doing when I was at my peak that were not delivering results for me at all. I was working out with personal trainers, and that was not working whatsoever. It wasn't delivering results. It will not deliver results. And it's quite a costly waste of resources, time, money, and energy, not to mention how disempowering. I was doing so much running and cardio. I was totally addicted to cardio. I thought the more cardio you do, surely the healthier you are, the leaner you are, the more weight you lose. And yet that couldn't be further from the truth. So then I started incorporating weightlifting, because people were telling me, oh, you got to build your muscle mass, you got to lift more weights. So I started lifting weights. Wasn't working, no difference whatsoever. I was reading books and articles probably most days of the week, constantly trying the new fad of the month, the new book of the month. And I was leaning into my friends, my communities, trying to figure out, okay, so what's working for you? You know, whatever my friends were doing that was working for them, I would try it, but I would get zero results. And let me tell you, there's nothing more disempowering, because then I started taking it personal. I started thinking, okay, so there must be something wrong with me. These people are doing well. I'm doing the same things and I'm not getting results. Let's not go down the rabbit hole of dieting. Every diet under the sun I tried. The low carb diet was my lowest of low points. In fact, I did one. I'm not gonna name names, but I did one that was probably the most extreme low carb diet you can do, and it made things so much worse, as they do, by the way, as they do. Those kind of diets really tip your imbalance to a whole other scale. And at some point, I even threw myself in at the deep end with intermittent fasting, because everybody was like, oh my God, that's the thing. That's what women should be doing. That's what will rebalance your hormones. So I threw myself in with intermittent fasting, and it was a complete mess. Zero results. In fact, it kind of threw my whole eating patterns out of balance. It took me weeks to recover. The amount of money that I was spending on supplements, pills, and like literally, I had a regimen that was like hard to fathom. None of that was obviously making a dent. Not to mention the creams, the potions, the hair product, the skincare product. Nothing wrong with good quality products, but like I was spending hundreds and hundreds trying to figure out, but it wasn't solving the problem at the root level at all. So then, why do we experience hormonal imbalances? What are the real causes? Because once we understand these, then we can actually get into action in a powerful way. We can actually spend our most valuable time and energy on actions that actually yield results. So let me share this with you. This is the distinction which, when I discovered it, it kind of opened up a whole new realm for me. One of the most predominant, most common, and most detrimental causes of hormonal imbalances is a condition called estrogen dominance. Now, we all know about estrogen. Estrogen is a female hormone. It's a needed one. It's not bad per se. The body produces estrogen. We need estrogen. Even men produce estrogen, obviously in different proportions than women. However, the moment your body starts to produce more estrogen than absolutely necessary to fulfill its daily functions, you will enter this state, which is called a state of estrogen dominance. And the immediate ramifications of estrogen dominance are that you will start developing all those side effects that I just mentioned to you. It will impact your weight, and it will cause stubborn weight gain. It will impact your cravings, which, by the way, impact your weight. So massive vicious cycle. It will impact your mood negatively. It will impact your time of the month negatively. It will increase your risk of developing breast cancers, ovarian cancers, etc. It will really get you trapped into that vicious cycle of all those red flags and side effects that, if not addressed promptly, can lead to the more severe ramifications, such as what I had: the PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, PMDD, cancers, infertility, type 2 diabetes, etc., etc. Now, estrogen is produced by some glands in the body. However, and this is what makes this so tricky, estrogen is also produced by our body fat cells. So the cells of fat that we have on our body, especially the visceral fat, which is the unhealthy kind that gets stored around our organs, amongst other things, they start producing estrogen. So imagine this: you start developing this condition for one reason or another. You start putting on the weight because you experience all of those issues that make you put on weight. So you start storing more fat in your body. That fat starts producing estrogen. So it reinforces and aggravates this condition even further. The most important thing to do is to really develop the strategies that allow you to prevent estrogen dominance at all costs. And I'll share a little bit more about this later on in the presentation, and it's all in my book whenever you'll have an opportunity to get your hands on the book. Second most common challenge, lack of phytoestrogens. Phytoestrogens are magic compounds found in specific kinds of foods, all from the plant kingdom, that help the body naturally rebalance your estrogen levels without any negative side effects. So if your nutrition is not specifically targeted for hormonal balance, by making sure that it's very rich in phytoestrogens, then you're going to struggle. Third most common cause of hormonal imbalances are the nutritional deficiencies. And really, there are some prominent things that you need to make sure that you are always at the best, not even ideal range. You need to be optimal and above in order to make sure that your body is not struggling from an imbalance. So the nutrient density of your foods and the balance of your meal plans is of utmost importance. And then, obviously, a very important note, a very important issue, which is the very fiber of this presentation, the stress response. I mean, look at this chart. This chart gives you a very simplified overview of how stress immediately impacts your hormonal levels. So you get a trigger of some sort, which, by the way, could be a tiger chasing you because he wants to eat you, or it could be a work deadline. Your brain doesn't know any difference. It's going to secrete all the same hormones that are going to trigger your pituitary gland, that is going to release more hormones, triggering the adrenal glands to produce more very popular hormones that get dumped into your bloodstream and impact every single organ, major organ in your body. So if you're going through this vicious cycle every day, maybe even multiple times a day, imagine the havoc that this is creating on your hormonal balance. Now, the good news. The good news is that you actually can develop the strategies that will allow you to finally feel like your very best self. You wake up in the morning and you're ready to seize the day, ready to go. It's possible. You can have so much energy to deal with whatever is going on with your day-to-day life, never feeling stressed, burnt out, or overwhelmed, regardless of how busy your days are. You can achieve your natural weight without extreme diets or punishing workouts. You can also feel calm, relaxed, at ease, and in control of your emotions, even when life is challenging you, which it will never stop doing. You can have the best sleep patterns and habits. You will fall asleep easily. You will sleep well through the night. No night sweats, no issues. It will be like a new life. And so I want to actually really impact you today. And I want to encourage every single one of you to actually implement some basic steps with me right now. Whether you are watching this live or if you're watching the replay, I would like every single one of you, and I'm going to do it with you, to get up and grab yourself a large glass of water like this one that I'm holding. And we're all going to drink a large glass of water together, because actually chronic dehydration will have a direct, immediate impact on your hormonal levels. And we don't realize how dehydrated we are through the day. And just addressing this will massively improve your experience. So let's do it together. Cheers. Let's drink a large glass of water together right now. It feels like the body is getting nurtured and re-energized. And sometimes you don't feel thirsty. That's the tricky thing. but you still need to hydrate. Well done for taking this step with me today. We're going to take step number 2. Oh, and by the way, these guidelines that I'm sharing with you are the tip of the iceberg of what our entire proven method involves, right? It takes way more than drinking a cup of water, but it's important to start somewhere. This is kind of what the journey to your most balanced self looks like. It starts with a thorough assessment where we really address where you are. There's no one size fits all in the approach. We address where you are, we see where you are, and we determine the best course of action for you. Then we rebalance your body with optimal nutrition and hydration. We rebalance your body with optimal movement, which doesn't mean doing what you've been doing. It needs to be tailored around optimal hormonal balance. Then we rebalance your body with optimal focus, mindset, mindfulness, anything to do with your minimizing the stress response that we just talked about. Finally, we educate you on eliminating all hormonal disrupting substances from your life. And they are sneaky, they are everywhere. And if you don't eliminate those, you might be doing everything else right and you're still not getting your optimal results. And by the end of this journey, you won't recognize yourself. People will not recognize you. They will stop you in the street. They'll ask you what you're doing. Your friends will not believe the transformation. So the second exercise we're going to do together is a breathing exercise. Again, talking about the stress response and how important it is to develop the strategies that allow us to prevent that loop of all those hormones being dumped in your bloodstream and impacting all your organs. And I'm just going to quickly demonstrate with you. And I encourage you, again, if you're watching the live, do it live with me. If you're watching the replay, do it with me. We're going to do a very simple breathing exercise that you can take away with you and practice at any moment, even at your desk. Nobody will care. Many people won't even notice, so that you can start regulating your stress response. And it's called box breathing, right? So I'm going to guide you through it. You're going to sit with your spine straight, with your hands on your legs, and your feet flat on the floor. And we're going to together breathe in for a count of 5, hold the breath for a count of 5, and breathe out for a count of 5. So let's do it together. And begin. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more round. Breathe in for 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Last round. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great work. Drop your shoulders, maybe twist your neck a little bit, wiggle your fingers, and welcome back to your body. Welcome back to the present moment. And well done. This is a tiny, tiny glimpse into what it's like to develop the techniques that allow you to break that vicious cycle of the stress response. Now, 2 bits of homework for those that really want to take this experience to a whole other level. And trust me, this might occur to you as a bit of a challenge, but it will give you incredible results in just 7 days. For 7 days, you are going to eliminate all eggs and dairy products from your diet. And I'm not saying you can never eat them again. I'm not saying that. But I want you to experience what it's like to detox from these 2 food categories, because actually they are the most hormone dense food categories you can consume. because they come straight from the reproductive system of an animal. So they are full of naturally occurring hormones, as the eggs of a woman would be, or as the breast milk of a woman would be, but even in higher proportions, because if you imagine the size of a cow, so not to mention the way that they're traditionally produced means that they are sometimes, the animals are sometimes injected and given even more hormones, growth hormones, fertility hormones. So these two food categories are very, very hormone dense. And by going through a temporary detox for 7 weeks, you will give your body a break. Your body will be able to eliminate some of these unwanted hormones, which will allow it to reinstate a better balance, right? Now, if you do the second bonus task at the same time as well, which is to double your intake of fruit and vegetables for 7 days, then let me tell you, you're going to have an incredible week. And by doubling, I mean, if you're not eating any fruit and veggies, you just have 1 portion a day. If you're eating 1, you have 2. If you're eating 2, you eat 4, up to 6 or 8, Once you increase the consumption of fruit and vegetables, you will naturally increase your consumption of the healthiest kind of fiber, that you can get, because it's fiber that is also bound to nutrients. So it's nutrient-dense food that contain a lot of fiber. And this will help the body detoxify from unwanted hormones, especially estrogen. So incredible little bonus tip here. Now, I was saying these are really a tip of the iceberg, right, of the proven strategies, because some of them will have to be a bit more bespoke and tailored to you. The truth of the matter, however, is as basic, as simple, and as these initiatives might occur, 95% of you will struggle to keep up with them in your life at some point or another. So actually, one of the most important things you can do, if not the most important thing you can do, is to create a support system, to get the help that you need, to get the support that you need, to create the structure required for you to be able to upkeep the lifestyle and nutrition habits that really optimize your hormonal balance in the medium and long run, not just for an hour or a week. Okay, I believe we are sharing these assessments in an email as well. But if you want to take a moment right now, for all of you that are catching this live, to scan this QR code, I have developed the most effective hormonal balance assessment. It only takes 3 minutes to complete. It's completely free. You go in there, you answer the question as truthfully as you can, and you will get access to a personalized page which will show your bespoke score across all the key areas that are relevant to your hormonal balance, and will give you tips on what are the best ways to improve your score on the areas when you need to. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Take 3 minutes at the end of this call or to complete the questionnaire and really get a very clear perspective of where you're at and where you need to go. And thank you for being here with me today on a Thursday at lunchtime or whenever you're catching the replay. It's fantastic to be here with you. Thank you for your time. Again, I don't take that lightly. I know that we're all incredibly busy. We have busy lives. We have busy schedules. So you making an effort to show up today means a lot to us. And stay tuned as Sabine will share even more about this incredible community, the Empower Me Hub, and how this is the place for you to show up and get all that you need under one roof so that you can really build the life of your dreams. Thank you.
Serena, this has been amazing. Cheers.
Well done.
It was very, very enlightening for me. Water, no eggs and no cheese and no milk. This is one of my favorites for breakfast, to be honest. Eggs every day, pretty much.
You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone.
So that was insightful. And yeah, double fruit and vegetables. And you will feel much better. I've done this myself, actually reduced the carbs, and I was on I'm still am on a low carb diet, but I'm still not where I want to be with my weight. So that was really, really insightful. But when you eat more fruit and vegetables, you are going to feel more energetic. Your skin will clear up. It just has a big effect on you when you are cutting out some of the sugars. I think there's a combination of things that we can do. And of course, I would highly recommend you connect with Serena. Come into the Empower Me Hub. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. And of course, you do need to get her book. So we will be sharing that somewhere. And if you're in the hub, you will get obviously first bite
First
at the
dibs.
cherry. Yeah, the first dips, because you'll have Serena inside. She will be able to answer questions. There's not many places where you can actually connect with the author and ask questions and perhaps get some more help. So thank you so much. Now I'm going to move over to close. And of course, I want to give you the opportunity to come and join the Empower Me Hub. I've just dropped a link in the chat. What is this place? As you rightly said, Serena, it is a place where it is a safe place, where we're having discussions, where we have a community, where we are not only sharing about leadership skills, we're talking about well-being as well, because it is so important to have this balance. And it is really that place to get holistic support. That's been my wish. I've been working in a leadership space for many, many years, and I see so many people I'm coaching that they need other support as well. They are parents. They need parenting support. Having challenges around, I don't know, divorce perhaps even, or they're going through bereavement. And then, of course, we have financial challenges. So I really wanted to bring a lot of different aspects into the Empower Me Hub. And hence, we now have a big range of speakers and already topics that are pre-recorded, but then we also are having live discussions and live conversations, Q&As, where you can hop on and you can be live with the speakers and interact. And of course, we want to make it interactive and fun, because when we are learning something new and we need to master the life lessons, it's not just, yes, we're going to read a book and we are watching one workshop and it's all over. No, it's about implementing habits in a sustainable way. And it is a journey. It's not just a one-off thing. And quite often, this was probably the most annoying thing when I wasn't working in leadership, and I was obviously a trainer myself and also receiving training. We would go for a one-day event, a team building event, or you get a training course. And then the next week you're back at work, and then you're thinking, okay, I need to now implement what I've learned, right?
Exactly.
But people around you, they don't know what you've learned. And then you're like, oh, we're not all on the same level somehow. And then who actually helps you to improve on what you've learned and look over your shoulder? Or when you are getting stuck with something, who's going to help you getting over those hurdles? And that's where a membership like the Empower Me Hub is much more sustainable, because you are on an ongoing journey. You're not just coming in and out of one workshop. It's ongoing. And of course, it was important for us to create a clear pathway and also help you with setting goals. Now, when you come in, you can go through, an assessment, and of course, a deeper assessment that Serena has created around the hormonal imbalance and deep dive into the well-being. But there's also another assessment where you can holistically look at your life and you can make a decision, where do I want to actually get started first, and which are the resources inside the hub that I want to tap into, because it's not a marathon. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? It is a marathon. It's like bit by bit. The other thing is you are in control. Often, yes, there are well-being providers at work, there are resources and training courses, but they're tied to your employer and they might not cater for your individual needs. So now, coming into the Empower Me Hub, you are completely in control on your own terms around your self-development. And you have access to this, whether you are changing employers or you're unemployed or you are self-employed or you are retired, it doesn't matter. you're in control of these resources and your well-being and your growth. We're here to share experiences. That's why we've created a community as well. And I'll share with you how does that portal actually look in a minute as well. And of course, it's the accountability, as Serena already said. Who's going to keep you accountable? Yeah, you can do like a week of detoxing, and then maybe you find it hard even after a couple of days because you might have some symptoms. I went through symptoms. I did a juicing detox some time ago. I would have not done it for the amount of time if I didn't have accountability partners and sharing experiences and, you know, saying, oh, I don't know if I can go any longer. And then we supported each other. You know, that's really what this is all about. It's about supporting each other on this journey. So, well, I think this is the missing piece really is to have consistency with whatever you are going to work on, and just know the Empower Me Hub is a one-stop shop. I haven't seen anything like this actually out there. It's either a leadership program or a leadership membership, or it's a well-being membership, or it's a home life something, right? It's everything's under one roof. So you're going to get the support. We help you, we guide you, we're there. We have get started sessions as well. And it's very important that we integrate all the different topics. So in a couple of weeks' time, actually, we're having a forum discussion with a number of different speakers across the different ranges of well-being, leadership, home life, and bring it all together, because we are whole human beings, right? What happens at work will impact us at home and vice versa. We know that. Stress, you mentioned, Serena, it's a big one, right? It will impact everything. And so it's important to have an integrated toolkit and approach that will help you make these transformations sustainably. So here it is, the Empower Me Hub. I already said it is a sustainable approach. It's also learning bite-sized chunks. It's not that you need to go through hours and hours of videos. No, maybe you're going to work on one particular thing 1 month and get this nailed and get the support. And we have the workbooks, we have the live sessions, we have the community, we give you a step-by-step roadmap. So how does it look once you join? We have a community tab. It is not on social media. It is a safe place. It's a learning platform. So just know this. I didn't want to build this on a social media platform because we get really distracted on social media. It's safe. Of course, you don't need to participate in a community, but of course, if you have questions or you want to reach out to someone, you can message people, even in the background, because sometimes you want to keep things, confidential, and we absolutely honor that as well. But just know there are people that are posting, I'm going through this right now, where can I find this help? Or we're having some conversations and maybe a prompt coming in on a Monday, and we discuss about these things. And so there's people bringing their insights to the table as well. Then we have the calendar. So this is very, very cool. It's not just a bunch of video trainings in there and workbooks. No, we have live sessions where you can join, you can listen in, you can always also watch the replays, because I know, as Serena said that, we are all busy. We may be at work 9 to 5, may not have the time when this is happening. We want to catch replay. You can also ask questions even before the session or after the session. We come and answer it as well. You can also reach out to the expert in the group. And lastly, this is the classroom. So it's very, very organized, very visual. I was looking for a long time at obviously corporate training platforms and what technology is available. And I just feel like something that's really organized and visual is really, really important. So we've arranged it in tiles so that you can actually look at the different areas. So we have a career section, and there are masterclasses within the career section. We've got all the well-being sections: physical, emotional, mental well-being, financial well-being, as well as self-leadership, team leadership, and then we have home life and work life. But then you might think, okay, well, how do I get started? Well, when you get started, firstly, we will give you a 7-day free trial, because we want you to actually feel this is the right place for you. And sometimes you just don't know what you're buying into if you don't see what's behind the wall. That's why we have a 7-day free trial. You can come in for free. You can also cancel if you don't like it. Absolutely. And we would guide you towards the Empower Me quest. This quest has been particularly designed for a great accelerated onboarding. It will give you, it's like a treasure hunt, basically. It's a lot of fun. It will give you an idea as to what are your priorities that you would like to work on in your life. So you look at everything, right? Your career, your well-being, your leadership skills, and it will then point you to the resources inside the hub that you can go and sort of taste and go and have a look at. So if you use the link that I've shared, I just want to make sure I shared the correct link. Yeah, it's going directly to the school, which is the platform. We'd love to see you on the inside. And then very, very soon, we'll have an integrated conversation that's happening once a month. And then, yeah, you might be bumping into Serena again. And yeah, any last words that you wanted to highlight as I've just gone through these slides, something else that I didn't realize or that I should say about the Empower Me Hub?
Well, I would like to say this community and this platform that you've created, Sabine, is really a dream come true. If I had access to a tool like this when I was at the peak of my struggles, it would have, saved me so much time, money, and energy, and it would have allowed me to really kind of get to the root of my issues and my challenges in a fraction of the time. So thank you for creating this. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. I'm so excited to connect with everybody on there, and let's do this. Let's really be the change that we want to see in the workplace and in the world by building up this community and improving, firstly, the quality of our lives, and then as a result, the quality of the life of everybody around us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really the big mission. So when you click the link, hopefully it's displaying correctly. I'll have to go back and double check on YouTube and so on. But if you can't find it, just message me as well, and or Serena if you see it on her timeline. We'll get you sorted with the link. And basically, this is what you would see on the right-hand side. It says there, start free trial. And you'll also see the pricing structure as well before you sign up. So everything's there. And of course, once you're in, we're also on the platform. You might have to create a profile as well. Again, just know it is not social media, and it's not that people are going to kind of, bombard you with their lifestyle pictures or something like this. It's purely a learning platform, which I'm really, really excited about. So yeah, thank you so much once again, and we'll close the session, and we look forward to having you on the inside. And yeah, let's change, the world. Let's change our own self first. I think that's how we get started. We need to look after ourselves. We need to look after our well-being, because only then we can then help everyone around us and be the best that we can be at work or as a family member, a parent, a friend, a daughter, a son, right? That's where it all starts with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.